Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Friday. It's time for Down to the Wire on the Vegas Insider Network, presented by BetMGM. I'm your host today, Joe Madden, and I have a great show lined up for you today. I'm going to be bringing in Reno Johnny. He has just been absolutely on fire with Vegas Insider. You don't want to miss his 3 picks he has coming up for you guys. But before we bring him in, we're going to talk about my best bet of the day. And now it is on the ice. We got 4 incredible matchups on the ice today. I don't know if you guys are as excited as I am for hockey to be back, but I tell you, it's a beautiful time of year with action on the ice. Tonight, I'm looking at the matchup between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, this is going to be an interesting game. We saw Vasilevsky let in too many goals in their opening game. He has right now a 3.1 goal against average. This is very unlike him. I'm looking for him to have a strong bounce back game here against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, I expected Elvis earlier in the day in net for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He will not be starting. Tarasov will be coming out for him here today. Elvis is day-to-day with a back injury. Now, I think Tarasov can do enough in this one. I really am looking for this game to stay under that total of 6. I'm looking for both of these defenses to step up, for Vasilevsky to have an incredible night in goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and for this to be a lower scoring one. Both of these teams normally when they match up do trend to that over. So it is a little scary here taking an under 6 with them. But you guys, these teams are going to get back to a solid game here defensively. The Columbus Blue Jackets, when we look at them versus the Eastern Conference, 7 of their last 10 have trended to that under. And when we look at Tampa, when they verse the Metropolitan Division, they've hit that under in 11 of their last 12. And versus the Eastern Conference, they love to stay under that number too. I really do think this is a lower scoring one. So we're going to ride the under 6 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, before we welcome in Reno Johnny, I want to tell you about our friends from BetMGM. Kick off the new pro football season with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM using a bonus code VIBONUS, and your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. That's VIBONUS, all one word, no spaces. And your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for all terms and conditions. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Okay, you guys, it is time to welcome in my guest tonight, Reno Johnny, to the show.
Hey, thank you, Joe, for having me.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure to have you. I know you have a busy night coaching high school football, homecoming night.
Yeah, it's homecoming here, so it's going to be a busy next couple hours. The kids are excited. We're, kind of excited. It's probably one of the biggest games here in the last 10 years, so it's going to be a good night.
Electric environment. I hope you guys get the win tonight. I want to wish your team all the best. Do you want to give a shout out to your team?
Yeah, TMI Panthers. Coaching staff's behind me, actually, in the office here, because I'm doing it from the coaching office right now.
I love it. I love it. Way to go. All the best to your team tonight. Let's talk some football. We have the Cowboys taking on the Eagles. Sunday night game. This is 8:20 Eastern. I have to ask you, Reno Johnny, you've been on fire in the NFL. Can the Cowboys hand the Eagles the very first loss of the season?
Growing up a Cowboys fan, it's something you want to see happen. I don't know if this is going to be the atmosphere to do it. This is going to be the toughest environment they're going to play all season. Going to Philadelphia with an undefeated team, it's going to be a definite tough ask. I understand that the Cowboys did beat the Rams, they did beat the Bengals, but I think both those teams are kind of having down seasons. Cowboys offense is something that's kind of weird, right? They struggled with Dak. They kind of have found a little bit of rhythm with Cooper Rush. Their defense has been the key. I look at the Eagles as having a really high-powered offense. I could see the Cowboys kind of slowing them down a little bit. My thing is, can the Cowboys offense score on what I see as a very good Eagles defense? I think these games can come down to, down to the last couple of minutes. Last year, we did see the Cowboys really wreak havoc on this Eagles team, much of the same except a couple additions. The one thing I have is Cowboys have won, 8 in a row now in the NFC East? I think that probably comes to an end. If you can get 7 anywhere, I think that's a good it'd be okay to take the Cowboys. If you can't get 7, I think I'd probably lean Eagles here. I actually like the over as well in this football game. I think both teams, weird because the Cowboys are predicated on some defense. I think that the Eagles offense can kind of get a couple early scores, which forces the Cowboys to open up the playbook, maybe get a little bit more scoring than you would think with these two tough defenses.
Yeah, talking about tough defense, Micah Parsons for the Cowboys has just been playing absolutely lights out. I'm looking at him for some sack props in this game, getting to Jalen Hurts, because I do think the offensive line has some areas of concern for him to be able to break through. Now, I have to ask you, when we look at this matchup, would you be more confident in Dak Prescott stepping in for the Cowboys? We know he's not available, but do you think this team's stronger with Cooper Rush? Because at the moment, I'm looking at keep Cooper Rush till they start losing.
Yeah, I think the controversy is there. The more he wins, the controversy is going to be there. I can't tell you that Cooper Rush is better as a quarterback, as an athlete than Dak Prescott is. I can say the Cowboys have played better. But the problem is, Dak Prescott had one game after preseason. And you look at the guys that Cooper Rush is getting involved in, Noah Brown, and all those guys. Those are the reps he got. He was working out with the second stringers and the third stringers. So it's easy to correlate that when it's game time, he's using everybody, right? That's what back quarterbacks are able to do. He manages the game pretty well. If the Cowboys win this game or keep it anywhere competitive and Dak Prescott comes back and loses the first game, their controversy is real. The problem is when you pay a man $250 million, he's your quarterback, whether you like it or not.
That's all I keep hearing from everyone. But I tell you, if I'm using that $2,000 purse and the $500 purse does a better job, I know which one I'm turning to. So when I look at things that way, I don't know. Hard decision here. You're going to roll with the Eagles laying the 6.5, but the Cowboys +7 if you can get a 7.
If you can get a 7, you can get a 7.
Yeah.
I think this is a potentially scary game for the Cowboys just because every time where they find themselves in that big position, they just kind of fall flat. Micah Parsons, I will say, is right now he is the best defensive player in the NFL.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He's just absolutely killing it out there. MLB, do you have a bet on this game right now? The Phillies are up 6-0. It's the bottom of the 4th.
Oh, yeah, we're going Phillies all the way. I actually had the Phillies winning the World Series. I thought, not the beginning of the year, but going in about a month before the season started, which is kind of weird because they were not in a guaranteed spot to make the playoffs. But I really like this Phillies team. I think they found something here on offense. Anyone 1 through 9 can generate runs. Their pitching is really good, including Nola. I am on the Phillies today, actually. I did have a -115. 6-0 seems nice, but I was also on a 7-3 lead with the Mariners. So no lead is safe until we're done. The game is over.
Yeah, absolutely. But dominating at the moment, bottom of the 4th, you guys, the Phillies are up 6-0 over the Braves. What did that total close at? Do you remember?
7.5.
It wasn't that high.
I think it was 7 or 7.5, if I
That's
remember
what
correctly.
I thought. Wow. That's crazy. Well, you guys, I'll keep you updated on that game if you are listening. We're going to move on to some college football here. I know you have an opinion on this Penn State-Michigan game. One of these teams is going to walk off this field with a loss. Who is it? We got Michigan coming in as a 7-point favorite here at home. Who do you like here?
So this game's weird. You look at Penn State, they came into the season unranked. So the fact is, if you look at their schedule, if they can beat Michigan right now, they're going to get Ohio State, which is no question the best team in the Big Ten, but they get them at home. So that environment's going to be raucous. They get a couple of their bigger games at home. They can escape Michigan, potentially Penn State in the Big Ten championship, and then potentially a playoff appearance for a team that started the season unranked. It's there. I don't know if they're going to have enough. J.J. McCarthy has seemed to get the job done when it matters most. Both teams have looked extremely beatable. Michigan came in last week. They were 10-10 at halftime versus Indiana. They ended up opening it up, winning by 21, but really it was a lot closer. They scored that final 21 point, the touchdown to Gallup to 21 with 2 minutes to go left in the game. They're beatable. They were up 13-0 against Iowa. It's not a dominant performance. They're just kind of doing what they need to do, almost playing down to their competition. I could see this game being much of the same. I look at Penn State, and are they that good? They beat Northwestern by 10. Their quarterback had 140 yards. They beat Central Michigan. They beat Purdue. Like, just not a very good body of work for, I think, from my opinion, with either team. So it's going to be interesting. I like the defense. I like the under probably, but that under seems too easy that I kind of want to stay away from it. You have a top 5 defensive scoring in Michigan. You have a top 13 defensive scoring in Penn State. So that just kind of screams under, and 48.5 is a little high. So probably lean on the under, but I think Penn State getting a full touchdown. I could see this game coming down to the very last drive, kicking a field goal, or even last touchdown drive to win the game.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal game out there on the field. I love where you're going with that under. I looked at that too and thought it looked too easy. Then looking at the stats, 5 of the last 7 meetings, hitting that over. I expect this one to be a low-scoring defensive game, though, one in those trenches. So it's going to be a good one. Like I said, someone's getting the loss here. And Penn State, would you sprinkle on the money line?
Yeah, this is a game, I won't do it all the time, but this is a game that I actually would sprinkle on the money line. I'm not really impressed with Michigan. They just looked beatable. They won by 7 against Maryland. I thought Maryland kind of exploited a couple of their inefficiencies on defense, on the defensive side of the football. Now, Clifford is definitely not the athlete that Toa Tagovailoa is. I can't say his name at all, but Tua's brother. But it's to me, it's just one of those things where +7, I think, is too much. You're probably going to get about plus 280, 270 on the money line. I think it's a sprinkle is well worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth a sprinkle there on the money line. It's going to be a great game, you guys. That is at 12 Eastern on Saturday. And I love how that you called him Tua's brother, because it's exactly where I go with that. That last name is way too hard for any of us to try to pronounce here, especially on a Friday afternoon. You guys, we still have that MLB game sitting 6-0 for Atlanta. Bottom of the 4th, we got 2 bases loaded right now. First and second base loaded for the Phillies. You think they bring some of these around here?
I hope so. I mean, 6-0 to me seems good, but it's never comfortable until we get that final out. Especially when you have, I was on the Mariners, like I said, and I was up 7-3. I felt confident, and then my phone died. I looked my phone back up, and I found out they lost on the last ball of the game. So not a good feeling, but yeah, so get more runs, run it up, in my opinion.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Seattle got off to a hot start in that. Houston brought it back. Didn't cover the run line, only won by that one run there. That was a nuts one. That was the the first game of the series, correct?
Yeah, then first game of the series, second game went pretty much the same way. They were up 2-1, and then Yordan Alvarez also hits another 2-run shot to take the lead, and they never looked back.
That is, yeah. You think Houston runs away with the rest of it?
I think Seattle gets one. They haven't had a playoff game in 21 years there. The crowd's probably going to be raucous. I could see this actually going 5. I don't know if they're going to have enough to win the series, but I could see this going 5.
I just want to give a quick shout out to Big Sis Lisa in the comments. I've been seeing her here all the time and on every show I'm doing. So appreciate the support, Big Sis Lisa. Make sure you go over and check out Reno Johnny's picks for this weekend in the NFL, because like I said, he has been absolutely lights out. We're going to talk another college football game here that I know that you're interested in. Utah State taking on Colorado State. Now, Utah State's coming in here as the favorite on the road, laying a lot of points.
It's a lot.
Go ahead.
And I'm sorry, it's a ton of points. For me, it's a weird game. This probably isn't generating near the attention like you would say like a Bama and Tennessee game is. That's the most bet on game all weekend, including the NFL, is Bama versus Tennessee. I look at it a different way. I like the Utah State-Colorado State matchup. It's a smaller school. I love the Mountain West. I am from Reno, Nevada. Nevada is my school, been my squad. I was actually on that game last week. But in this matchup, it's a little weird. Utah State came into the season winning the Mountain West last season, and we really expected them to kind of continue that success under Bonner. It just hasn't been there. They actually went with Legis last time out, and he's pretty much been their quarterback. But the offense has been kind of inefficient. Jay Norvell at Colorado State, finally got what he would probably classify as a revenge game. He did leave Nevada after a little early, chased some money, and basically blew up that Nevada program in the process. Got a couple of his recruits leave. Carson Strong told him to go to the NFL. He's looking for a team now. I don't think he did a good job with that program. So last week, does that win mean a lot? Like, are they going to be able to correlate that into more wins? I think getting plus 11.5 is probably the play. I think that they can keep up with Utah State. Utah State's offense just hasn't looked good at all this season. I like the Colorado State defense. They scored 14 points last week on the defense, and they scored back-to-back pick six and a fumble six, right? So I think they can do this again, force Legas or Bonner to make some bad decisions down the field, contain the run game, and stay within themselves. The one problem I have with Colorado State is Morrow. Morrow last week against Nevada, he did have the most rushing yards he's ever had in his career, ever, including high school. So I don't know how much he's going to have in the tank. But if Colorado State can stay within themselves, they can stay within the 11.5.
Yeah, I would love to see them be able to stay close in this matchup. When we look at the last 5 meetings between these two, the underdog has kept it tight, going 4-1 against that spread. Now, any thoughts I have to ask you on this total? We had the total open at 48. It's now down to 45.5, seeming quite low, but I love what you're saying out of the Rams defensively. The defense of this team should be able to contain Utah State. Do you think we stay under this number, or is this something you're going to stay off of?
It's something I'm going to stay off of, but I definitely like the under. I think both teams scoring the ball is going to be probably, points are going to be at a premium. So I actually like the under in this game. It's just tough to kind of sorry. There we go. Somebody's answering the door. So I like the under in this game, but it's also one of those games too where college is weird because teams, when they kind of start moving the football, they start speeding up the game, and that could be worrisome. It's really low, 45.5. For me, I lean under. I'm not betting the game. I'm just going to take the plus 11.5 on Colorado State. Stay away from the total for me.
Yeah, I love that bet, plus the 11.5. You guys jump on it now, so you don't get any line movement. You can find the best lines and value over at BetMGM. Head on over there. Reno, I want to thank you. Reno Johnny. How did you get the name Reno Johnny? I have to ask.
So here's what happened. I'm from Reno, Nevada, and I actually wanted to go by Johnny Reno. I think it sounds cleaner, but there's a guy. He's like 80. And I don't know really what he does, but he has he is Reno Johnny. So I have to wait to be able to take the name. So Devin Walker, he's like, why don't we just flip it? And it happened on a Twitter space, and we just flipped it, and then I've been Reno Johnny ever since. So that's where we're at.
I love it. Reno Johnny, best of luck to your team tonight. Shout them out again. Tell us, is it televised? The high school games, are they televised for people down there?
Yeah, there's we have like a channel that people can go to and check it out. We're a private school, but the public school games are typically the one that are the 6A games are you can find on your local network in some capacity, and a lot of them are streamed.
Okay. Well, I wish you guys all the best. Homecoming night, going to be a great atmosphere. Make sure you post some pictures. Let us know how your team did. I can't wait to hear you guys blowing them out. You guys a big defensive team or strong offensive team?
We're here. That's what I can say. We got a lot of question marks across the board, but if our defense can hold them a little bit, we'll be all right.
Okay. You guys get it tonight. I'm wishing you and the boys all the best.
Thank you very much, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. And before you leave, we lost him. I was going to, if you're still there, where can everyone find you?
Oh, I think I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Vegas Insider, Reno Johnny Jorson on there. I'm on Twitter at Reno_Johnny. Give me a follow. I always have some stupid stuff I like to post, but some of my plays, I'll give out free plays and stuff like that too.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Okay, guys, that was Reno Johnny. Great to have him in here before he heads off to coach this homecoming game. Now, he is going to ride Colorado State plus the 11.5 versus Utah State. That is on Saturday. He's going to also take Penn State plus the 7 points with a sprinkle on that money line. I love it. You guys, if you know me, you know I'm a Buckeyes girl. Love to see Michigan lose. And then between the Cowboys and the Eagles, so interesting here. If you get line movement and can get the Cowboys +7, he's going to grab them +7. If you can't and you can only get the 6.5, he's going to take the Eagles. So that half point absolutely does count. And that's what he's looking at in that matchup. Now, there was no totals that he did like, but he did lean on the under, I believe it was. Yeah, the under between Utah State and Colorado State. You guys, that brings me to my second best bet of the night. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is a matchup, I swear, we have all been waiting for since that last game. That coin toss went to Kansas City, and we all knew right there and then that Kansas was going to win that game in overtime and knock off the Bills. Now, Josh Allen is looking absolutely phenomenal this year. If I had like an old school, like you're standing in the field, you had to pick quarterbacks, who am I going with? You know, I'm going with Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes. I know a lot of you would take Patrick Mahomes, but I think Josh Allen is going to be, in the long run, the better quarterback. I think the talent that he has, we saw that, 98-yard pass that he was able to make. I think he's absolutely phenomenal on that field. I think he's more trustworthy. And I think the Buffalo Bills overall are more trustworthy. So I'm looking at their team total. So we can get their team total over 28.5. We're getting +100 at BetMGM for that. When we look at the Buffalo Bills, they have been so strong offensively. Now, their biggest question mark offensively is their running game, but Josh Allen is able to air that ball out and play a really strong aerial attack. Now, the thing with that is against Kansas City here, we have a Kansas City team whose secondary has some issues. They have some holes. I'm looking for players like Stephon Diggs to get open, to be able to break away from the secondary of Kansas City and to get those touchdowns. Now, we can look at Stephon Diggs also to get an anytime touchdown. It is -115 over BetMGM. I was shocked when I saw this line. I thought it would be around -130. He is definitely the biggest target for Josh Allen. Through the first 5 games, Diggs has caught 39 passes already for 508 yards and 5 touchdowns. I'm looking for him to get that touchdown tonight. Or sorry, not tonight. It's Sunday night. I wish it was Sunday night already. I can't wait for this game to go off. When we look at Kansas City's defense, they're allowing 25 points per game. We got to look at what they did against the Raiders. And when I saw them against the Raiders, they didn't look as clean as I would have expected. That should have been a game that they should have come out a lot harder. We saw those holes in the secondary. We saw Derek Carr be able to get some of those balls past some players that really shouldn't have let those balls go so deep. So I really do think this is a game where I'm not loving the over in this one, but I do love the Buffalo Bills team total over. I think Kansas City will struggle. I know you guys aren't going to like it. I know you guys are going to hate me for saying it. I know so many of you love Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and I do too. I'm eating my words on them this season. I did not think Mahomes would be as good without Tyreek Hill, but Travis Kelce is his biggest target. We had him for an anytime touchdown last week in that game. He got 4? He just did absolutely phenomenal. I'm worried this week. I'm not going to touch it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills team total over 28.5. Stephon Diggs, anytime touchdown, -115 over at BetMGM as well. I think it's a fantastic way to go with this game. But you guys, those are my 2 best bets. I'm excited for this weekend of football. Let's just check that MLB game. Okay, we're the top of the 5th. Philly was not able to bring anything in. It's still 6-0 at the top of the 5th here. We saw the Cleveland Guardians win today, 4-2 over the New York Yankees. That was beautiful plus money if you had it. I stayed off that. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I wasn't supposed to give out another bet today. I have the San Diego Padres to get this win here at home with Blake Snell. Trust in him. Sorry to my producer, Mike. I didn't tell him I was going to talk about that. But you guys, if you can get this in, it is at 8:37 tonight. I really do think the San Diego Padres come out nice and strong. Tony Gonsolin just hasn't played in a while. And I look at him coming out here We've seen him in postseasons. He hasn't been spectacular. I think the San Diego Padres get a nice win with that home crowd, with that environment. Give me them to get the win tonight. But I'm going to quickly talk to you guys about our app that we have for Vegas Insider. I want you guys to check it out because if you like what we're doing here on the shows, you're absolutely going to love the app. We've got up-to-date, easy to navigate odds for every major sport. You have our latest shows, best bet videos, and podcasts, all in that one spot, as well as props, trends, futures, and news, all on the Vegas Insider app. Download the Vegas Insider app right now on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. We have a little bit of housekeeping to do. We also have to get to our handicapper heat check. You guys, there are some incredible handicappers over at Vegas Insider. And today we are recognizing Kyle Hunter, who can be found on Twitter at Kyle Hunter Picks. Kyle is Vegas Insider's college football money leader, going 18-4 last 4 Saturdays on a 25-8 on totals this season. He is also on a 6-1 in his last 7 MLB win streaks. You guys, that's nuts. Like, did you seriously hear that? In last 4 Saturdays in college football, he's gone 18-4. Who can say that? 25-8 on the season so far. If you want to find Kyle's picks, and if you're watching this here on YouTube, just go below into the description. You can save $10 on Kyle's Dodgers and Padres best bet or his college football Saturday package by clicking on the link in the description below. The $10 discount will be applied at checkout. Now, if you're listening to this and you want to check out Kyle's picks, visit Vegas Insider Expert Pick page to take advantage of Kyle's hot streak, or click on his promo on the Vegas Insider homepage. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Okay, so I'm going to give you a recap of my picks. We've got a couple extra minutes. I might look at the NFL board and tell you some other things that I'm liking. I know I'm jumping off script, but I want to give you guys the most value for your time. We should run 30 minutes, so I'll give you some more. So my top 2 bets for the show are the Buffalo Bills team total over 28.5 and Tampa versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm going to take the under 6 there. So when I look at other things that I'm looking ahead to, we've already talked that Buffalo game. Monday Night Football, we have Denver taking on the Chargers. My lean right at this point is the Chargers minus the 4.5. You guys have to remember this is kind of a homer pick. The Chargers are my team, but I do think they get this done. I love where Reno Johnny's going with the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, for me, I'm going to have more confidence in the Cowboys than he does. I will take them plus 6.5. I'll also take them plus 5. I'd take them plus 4.5. I think this is a field goal game. I love the Cowboys in this situation. Now, the Carolina Panthers and the LA Rams, we've got the Rams here at minus 10. What has Matt Stafford done for us this year? That I don't care if Carolina has fired their coach. I don't care what is happening with Carolina. Carolina is a professional football team. They can keep this within 10 points, in my opinion, against an LA Rams team that has a quarterback that I do not believe is healthy. I think his elbow is worse than they're really letting on. He can't throw more touchdowns and picks this season. He's scrambling out there on the field. So I would totally fade the LA Rams. No matter what team they're playing, I would take the Carolina Panthers plus the points. Now, another game that I'm looking at, I'm avoiding Arizona and Seattle. It's disgusting. I don't want to watch that game even. I'm sorry to fans of those two teams. The Minnesota Vikings and the Miami Dolphins. This one really interests me. I think we can look at Miami coming in here strong. But I don't think that they get this cover. We know Teddy Bridgewater, still questionable. Tua is out. I think the Minnesota Vikings do enough. This is only 3.5 points right now. Do I love it? No, because we know what Miami has been able to do. I would wait on this one. I would see if people start betting up Miami and that you can get the 3.5 or the 3 number for Minnesota over the 3.5 there. When we look at the Bucs and the Steelers, we absolutely know the Steelers are completely struggling right now, you guys. Tampa with Tom Brady, I have to look at it and say there's a fire under him. Ever since this divorce news has come out, he's looked better out on that field. The weight and the pressure has come off his shoulders. I hate to say it. I hate to go against Mike Tomlin off a loss, but I think Tom Brady should be able to get it done with the Bucs here. He needs to get those conversions in the red zone to make it happen, but we've seen what the Steelers have done and what they haven't done. So give me the Tampa Bay Bucs laying the 10. I'll just pray that I'm not putting the Brady jinx on. For all of you that don't know me well enough to know, when I bet for Tom Brady, he loses. When I bet against Tom Brady, he wins. He is my kryptonite. I'm trusting in him in this game to get it done. So you might want to go the opposite. The last game I'm going to talk about really quick is the New York Jets and the Green Bay Packers. Now, we have a Jets team that is surprising everyone left, right, and center. I rode them last week. They got the straight up win. Zach Wilson coming out, making these connections with his team. Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers is not connecting with his team. They're traveling back from London this week. I don't know. I love Aaron Rodgers, you guys, but I don't think he has the weapons around him to get it done. I think we're really learning a lot about Rodgers and what he had in Davante Adams. And not that he had, Davante Adams is absolutely incredible, don't get me wrong, but he had that trust in his receivers. Without that trust in his receivers, we see him hesitating that extra half second, which is making the huge difference out there on the field. When quarterbacks have the time, we look at Tom Brady when he was with the Patriots, the amount of time he had on the pocket compared to so many other quarterbacks was absolutely outstanding. It makes a difference for these quarterbacks. Now, Aaron Rodgers is still getting the time in the pocket, but he's second guessing if his wide receivers can catch that pass. So for me, I've got to take the Jets plus the 7.5. And I also have to be totally insane and take the Jets on that money line, because if they come out and win it again this week, I'm going to be kicking myself for not sprinkling on that money line. So that's where I'm going with that game, guys. Don't judge me. It's going to be a hard one for the Jets to pull off, but I want to be on the right side of it if they do. That is about it. We are going to end off the show now. I want to thank you guys all for joining me here on this beautiful Friday evening. It was such an honor to be here on Down to the Wire on the Vegas Insider Network, presented by BetMGM. I want to thank my producer, Mike, for bearing with me, throwing out all this stuff I wanted to talk about before we ended, just because I want to finish here. It's Friday night. I want to spend it with you guys. Have a great night, you guys. Keep smiling, and let's make some freaking money.